Hi guys, this is PackRat556 here, and actually today is Sunday afternoon, and I had planned to do a little day hike today and get some time out in the woods and get some fresh air, maybe practice a few things. However, the weather is not cooperating, and for the past 3 days it's just been downpouring rain, and we've gotten several inches. The ground is totally saturated, and the temperature has been about 35 degrees, and it's actually falling right now, and the weatherman's predicting that we're going to get some snow this evening. And for the last week I've been under the weather, so I'm figuring the best idea for me is probably not to go out and brave the elements. But I still wanted to do something, so I've come out to my shop, and I figured what I'll do is cook myself lunch and make a small demonstration of my ESBIT stove, which is a military design. It is a folding stove, and it's actually very compact, even much more compact than my Sterno stove if you've seen the video on that, my video on this channel. But I wanted to show you how this stove works if you're not familiar with it. Basically, it's just a folding pot stand. You can see here it's very compact in comparison to my palm. And you can see too the price tag I paid for it, $3. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but $3 for the stove. And it's really simple, there's not much to it. As I said, it's just a folding pot stand. But you open it up, and you can see that the stove itself houses the fuel cubes. And these are ESBIT brand fuel cubes. There's actually 4 of these cubes within the stove. And each one is guaranteed to burn 13 minutes, which doesn't sound like long, but it supposedly will boil water within 8. So it should be enough fuel here to bring water to a rolling boil. And that should be because the temperature of these cubes burns at about 1400 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's a very hot flame. And another thing I like about these cubes is actually that they are perforated into 4 separate parts. Now the cube is solid, but if I wanted to take my knife, and I don't know if you guys can see this on the camera, I could easily split this into 4 different sections. And that would make a great emergency tinder, which burns hot. Even if my kindling was wet, this is something that I could use to probably get a campfire going, even in conditions like maybe today. But this is the box that the cubes come in. I actually purchased these recently from REI, Camping Outfitters. And this box has 12 cubes in it, and I think I paid just under $6 for the box. And each one of these cubes weighs 1/2 of an ounce, so I mean you won't notice it much in your pack. And if you figure using it as a tinder, emergency tinder, there's 12 cubes, and you can divide it into 4 parts. So if my math is right, that's 48 pieces of emergency tinder. So that's pretty nice. Another thing I like about the ESBIT fuel is if you are burning it and you decide you want to extinguish it, you can, and it can actually be relit. So that's a nice feature about it, is it's reusable. If you're cooking and you get the food to where you want it to be, and you don't need to waste the rest of the fuel, put it out, and you can reuse it later. And if a cube's too small to cook with, you could save it and use it for tinder, and that way you wouldn't have to cut up one of these cubes if you chose to use that later. You can see I've got some other fuels around the stove. This is probably familiar to you. This is a U.S. military ration heater, which is the trioxane fuel bar. And it actually will fold up and fit perfectly inside the ESBIT stove as well, which is what I've been carrying until I got these cubes recently. But this works perfect in the stove, so if you have these and you found this stove, they are compatible. And the other thing I have here is the hexamine tablets, which is I think designed for a different style stove. But these do work perfect in the ESBIT stove, or compatible, and you know, these burn real hot as well. So I have some of those also. I think I paid $1 per tube, and in these tubes are 6 tablets. So you can see the ESBIT stove is pretty versatile because you can use several different kinds of fuel in it. And as I said, it's very lightweight. It's aluminum, so it's not, it has very little weight to it, and it's versatile because it can use different fuels, and compact. So I really like the ESBIT stove. Now, as I said, I was going to go hiking today, but instead I've decided I'm going to prepare my favorite hiking meal at home in my shop, and that way I can give you a good demonstration of how the ESBIT stove works, and we will try it together. So I've got everything I need out here. I'm going to take just a minute to set everything up, And so you guys stick with me and we'll do a little cooking. Thanks for watching. Okay guys, I think I've got everything out that I need to do the cooking. But first I wanted to show you what we're going to be preparing. And this is my favorite backpacking meal. And there's nothing new here, but basically it's 2 ingredients, and I'm going to be adding a third at the end. But basically I've got some ramen noodles, shrimp flavor. I do have my little accessory kit here, which I get from restaurants or wherever I eat. And also vacuum sealed, or in the tin pack, the foil pack of chunk light tuna. And these two go together good to me. They make a really hearty soup. This meal has about 700 calories in it, which is pretty good for a lightweight meal. It's very lightweight. And you can see I prepared it just by vacuum sealing it. And if you don't have a vacuum sealer and you like camping and hiking and that kind of thing, you like putting some food up, you definitely should invest in one. The price of them is not nearly as expensive as it was at one time, and it will definitely pay for itself. You can use it a lot. But you can see I've just kind of made my own MRE, if you will, out of these two things. Sometimes I dehydrate, and that's another thing I use as a food dehydrator. I'll dehydrate vegetables like green peas, carrots, tomatoes, bell peppers, onions, things like that. And those things can be added into this pack as well to really season it up. But actually, since I'm at home, I'm using fresh vegetables today with this. But I did want to show you this little meal that I have packed up. And suggest to you that a vacuum sealer will be a wise investment so that you can prepare your own meals. Alright guys, it's been just a couple of minutes and this water's already starting to bubble a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and get my tuna in. And I probably won't use all of this for right now. Might save some for a sandwich later. Left my spork in the house, so I'm having to use this cheap knife. That's okay. Alright, so all we got to do now is add, this is starting to boil, add our seasoning packet. Go ahead and get that in the mix. Get that mixed up real good. Okay, and normally I would, as I said, I'd use the dehydrator and dehydrate these vegetables, but since I'm at home, I'm going to save my dry stuff since I don't have much actually left until I do another batch. So I'm going to use the fresh stuff, which fresh out of the can, let's put it that way. But these are just some garden peas and some carrots that I mix in with the meal. Might have added a little more water than I needed. Alright, as soon as it's done, you guys, I'll bring you back. Alright guys, it is done and it is almost eating time. So you can take a look here for yourself and see what my delicious tuna noodles with vegetables look like. My favorite backpack meal. And on a cold day, this is going to be really good. It's probably more than I can eat. My wife don't eat tuna, so I guess I'll put some up for later. But this is a delicious meal. It doesn't weigh much. It's got a lot of calories, nutritious, and easy to cook. So let me show you a little better here. My favorite meal for the trail. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a little sporadic, but it was fun to make and something to do on a rainy day. You guys take care, and again, thanks for watching.